The rumor mill is spinning out of control tonight, and if you thought you'd heard it all, think again. Fans are shocked, jaws are on the floor, and timelines are on fire after whispers exploded into a full-blown storm. Jasmine spent the night at Kirk's house. Yes, that Kirk, and the biggest question shaking the fandom is this: did Rasheeda know everything all along? In the glittering, messy universe of love and hip-hop, Atlanta, secrets never stay buried for long. And when they surface, they don't just ripple, they detonate. Late last night, social media lit up with frantic DMs, blurry screenshots, and breathless voice notes claiming that Jasmine Washington was spotted pulling up to the home of Kirk Frost after midnight. Not a quick drop-by. Not a casual check-in. We're talking lights off, doors closed, and a night that allegedly stretched until morning. Emotions ran high as fans replayed old episodes, dissected past arguments, and dug up every cryptic comment ever posted. Because if there's one person whose silence is louder than a scream right now, it's Rasheeda. No tweets, no Instagram stories, no calm, collected clapback. Just quiet, and in reality TV, quiet is never a good sign. Was this a calculated move? A messy coincidence? Or the final piece of a puzzle that's been forming right under our noses? Sources, alleged, anonymous, and absolutely dramatic, claim this night wasn't random. They say there were texts exchanged, promises made, and a history that refused to stay in the past. Others insist Rasheeda knew everything, that this wasn't betrayal but strategy, and that what looks like chaos might actually be control. As the clock ticked and speculation spiraled, friends reportedly took sides. Family members were said to be blowing up phones. And fans? Fans are divided, choosing camps and drawing battle lines in comment sections everywhere. Some are screaming, set up. Others are whispering, open marriage? And a few are asking the question nobody wants to answer: what if this changes everything? Because if Jasmine really spent the night at Kirk's house, and if Rasheeda really knew, then nothing we thought we understood about loyalty, forgiveness, and power in this relationship is safe. Stay right here, because what unfolds next is a roller coaster of accusations, tears, and revelations that will leave the family divided, and the fandom begging for answers. The night didn't start with a scream or a slammed door, it started with a whisper, the kind that crawls under your skin and refuses to let go. Atlanta was unusually quiet, streetlights blinking like they knew something the rest of the world didn't. Somewhere across town, a black SUV rolled slowly into a familiar driveway, engine humming low, almost cautious. The camera of imagination zooms in, because this is the moment everything allegedly shifted. Jasmine stepped out, heels in hand, hair pulled back, eyes scanning the darkness like she was checking for ghosts or witnesses, maybe both. Fans are shocked just hearing this part, because this wasn't supposed to happen, not like this, not now. Inside the house, the air was thick with unfinished conversations and old memories that never really died. Kirk stood near the door, arms crossed, jaw tight, the look of a man who knew this night would come eventually but still wasn't ready for it. "You didn't have to come," he muttered, voice low, almost swallowed by the walls. Jasmine laughed, but it wasn't playful, it was sharp, defensive. "And you didn't have to text me," she shot back, stepping inside anyway, closing the door behind her like punctuation at the end of a dangerous sentence. Meanwhile, across town, Rasheeda sat on her bed, phone face down beside her, staring at the ceiling like it might answer questions she wasn't ready to ask out loud. Emotions ran high even in silence. Earlier that evening, Kirk had kissed her cheek a little too quickly, said he had work to finish, something urgent. She'd nodded, calm on the surface, but her chest had tightened in a way she knew too well. Fans would later rewind this moment, pausing on her face, dissecting every blink, every breath. Did she already know? Or was she choosing not to know? Back at the house, Jasmine dropped onto the couch like she owned the place, crossing her legs slowly, deliberately. "So," she said, dragging the word out, "are you gonna stand there all night, or are we finally gonna talk about what you've been avoiding?" Kirk rubbed his face, pacing now. "This isn't good," he replied. "You coming here, people finding out, Rasheeda." He stopped himself, and Jasmine's eyes narrowed. "Say her name," she challenged. "You always stop right before you say her name." The tension crackled, the kind that makes even the air feel heavy. Kirk finally sat across from her, leaning forward, elbows on knees. "I told you this was done," he said. Jasmine laughed again, louder this time. "Done?" she repeated. "You don't text someone at midnight if it's done. You don't tell them you need to see them if it's done." She leaned in closer, voice dropping. "You don't invite them to your house." Outside, a neighbor's porch light flicked on and off, and for a split second, both of them froze. Paranoia set in quick. Jasmine stood, peeking through the blinds. "Relax," she said after a beat. It's just the wind. Kirk didn't answer. His mind was somewhere else, probably imagining headlines, fan reactions, the family left divided. He could already hear the accusations, see the disappointment in Rasheeda's eyes, or worse, the calm acceptance that would hurt even more. Jasmine turned back to him, arms crossed now. Why did you really call me? She asked, no sarcasm this time. Kirk swallowed. Because things aren't what they look like, he admitted. Because no matter how hard I try to fix things, something always comes back up. Jasmine smirked. Or someone, she corrected. That word hung between them, heavy and loaded. Hours earlier, Jasmine's phone had buzzed while she was getting ready for bed. She hadn't expected his name to pop up, and for a moment she'd just stared at the screen, heart racing. The text was simple. Can you come over? We need to talk. Fans are shocked because simple texts like that have started wars before. Jasmine had hesitated, fingers hovering, then typed back, right now? The response was immediate. Yes. That was all it took. Back in the present, Kirk stood abruptly, running a hand through his hair. You can't stay here, he said suddenly, like he was trying to convince himself more than her. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. You already crossed that line, she replied. I'm here. Now what? Her words were calm, but her eyes betrayed something deeper, resentment mixed with hope, anger tangled with attachment. Across town, Rasheeda's phone buzzed, screen lighting up the dark room. An unknown number. She frowned, hesitated, then picked it up. Hello? She said softly. There was breathing on the other end, then a click. The call dropped. She sat up straight, heart pounding. Fans would later swear this was the moment everything changed. She looked at the time, then at Kirk's empty side of the bed. Work, she whispered to herself, but the words sounded hollow. Back at the house, Jasmine had moved closer again, standing just inches from Kirk. You owe me honesty, she said. After everything, you owe me that. Kirk met her gaze, voice shaking. I never wanted to hurt anyone, he said. Jasmine laughed bitterly. That's funny, she replied. Because everyone around you seems to get hurt anyway. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second stretching. Kirk glanced at it, then back at Jasmine. You should go, he said again, but this time his voice lacked conviction. Jasmine tilted her head. Do you really want me to? She asked quietly. He didn't answer. That silence spoke louder than anything else. Hours passed like that, conversation looping, emotions spilling, accusations flying then dissolving into uneasy pauses. They talked about the past, about promises made in anger and comfort, about nights just like this one that were never supposed to happen again. Fans are shocked when they hear how deep the conversation went, how raw it got. This wasn't just a visit, it was a reckoning. Sometime after 2 a.m., rain started tapping against the windows, soft at first, then harder, like the sky itself was reacting. Jasmine stood near the window, watching the droplets race each other down the glass. Guess I'm not driving in this, she said casually. Kirk closed his eyes briefly, like he knew this excuse was coming. You can call an Uber, he suggested weakly. Jasmine turned, eyebrow raised. In this weather? You really want me standing outside? In Rasheeda's house, she tossed and turned, sleep refusing to come. She checked her phone again, scrolling aimlessly, until she noticed something that made her stomach drop. Jasmine had posted a story earlier that night, nothing obvious, just a photo of rain on a windshield with a caption. Long night. Rasheeda stared at it, zooming in like she might find answers hidden in the pixels. Emotions ran high as her thoughts raced. Coincidence, she told herself. Just a coincidence. Back at Kirk's house, Jasmine laid her shoes by the door, an action that felt far too comfortable. Kirk noticed and said nothing. They sat on opposite ends of the couch now, exhaustion settling in. You can take the guest room, he finally said. Jasmine smiled, slow and knowing. See, she replied. That wasn't so hard. As she disappeared down the hallway, Kirk stayed frozen on the couch, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed in his hand. Rasheeda. He let it ring. 1 ring, 2, 3. The family was left divided even before the call went to voicemail. When the phone finally stopped, he exhaled shakily, burying his face in his hands. Jasmine paused at the guest room door, listening. She heard the silence, the kind that screams. She opened the door, stepping inside, unaware or maybe fully aware that this night, this choice, would ripple far beyond these walls. And as the rain poured harder outside, the question hung unanswered in the air, heavier than ever. Was this really a secret, or was someone, somewhere, already watching, already knowing, already preparing for what would come next? The door clicked shut behind Jasmine, soft but final, and the hallway swallowed the sound like it never happened. Kirk stayed on the couch, staring at the dark TV screen where his reflection looked older, heavier, trapped. He told himself this was temporary, that nothing had actually happened yet, that sleeping under the same roof didn't automatically mean crossing a line. But the house felt different now, charged, like it was holding its breath. Jasmine sat on the edge of the guest bed, scrolling her phone without really seeing anything. Notifications stacked up, group chats buzzing, but none of them mattered like the silence outside the door. She knew that silence. She'd lived in it before. It was the sound of someone thinking too much, of regret and temptation fighting for the same space. She kicked off her jacket and lay back, staring at the ceiling, a small smile playing on her lips that even she didn't fully understand. Minutes later, Kirk's phone buzzed again. Rasheeda. He picked it up this time, stood quickly, pacing toward the kitchen like distance might help. Hey, he said, trying to sound normal. Everything okay? There was a pause, then Rasheeda's voice came through, calm but edged with something sharp. I couldn't sleep, she said. Just wanted to hear your voice. Kirk swallowed hard. I'm still working, he replied. Long night. The lie slid out smoother than he expected, and that scared him. Rasheeda closed her eyes on the other end. Emotions ran high even though her tone didn't change. Funny, she said softly. Because something feels off. Kirk laughed, too quick. You're overthinking, he said. You always do that. There was another pause, longer this time. Yeah, Rasheeda replied. Maybe. But she didn't sound convinced. When they hung up, she stared at the phone like it might betray him if she looked hard enough. Back at the house, Kirk leaned against the counter, hands shaking slightly. He told himself to wake Jasmine, to tell her to leave, to end this before it turned into something irreversible. Instead, he stood there, listening to the rain, remembering every time he'd promised himself he would do better. Fans are shocked when they hear how close he came to stopping it all, and how easily he didn't. Jasmine, meanwhile, drifted in and out of sleep. Around 3 a.m., she heard footsteps in the hallway. Her eyes snapped open. The door didn't open, but the presence was there, unmistakable. You okay? Kirk asked through the door, voice low. Jasmine sat up. Yeah, she replied. Just couldn't sleep. Another pause. Me neither, he admitted. Neither of them moved. The night stretched on like that, heavy with unspoken words. When morning finally crept in through the blinds, it didn't bring relief, just clarity. Jasmine woke first, checking the time, heart racing. She knew mornings were dangerous. Daylight made things real. She showered quickly, wrapped in a towel, then froze when she heard voices in the kitchen. Kirk was on the phone again. No, I'll be home soon, he was saying. Jasmine recognized Rasheeda's tone even without hearing the words. Her chest tightened, something like jealousy mixing with satisfaction. She dressed quietly, stepping out just as Kirk hung up. Their eyes met, and for a second neither spoke. She wants you home, Jasmine said finally. Kirk nodded. Yeah. He rubbed his face, exhausted. This can't happen again. Jasmine raised an eyebrow. You said that last time. The air shifted. Kirk looked at her, really looked at her, and for a moment the weight of every bad decision pressed down on him. I mean it, he said. Jasmine didn't argue. She just smiled sadly. We'll see. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the street slick and reflective. Jasmine grabbed her shoes, slipping them on by the door. You don't have to walk me out, she said. Kirk followed anyway. At the door, she turned back. Just so you know, she added quietly, secrets don't stay secrets forever. Then she was gone. Hours later, Rasheeda sat at the breakfast table, coffee untouched. Kirk walked in, forcing a smile. Morning, he said. Rasheeda studied him, every movement, every breath. You look tired, she observed. Long night, he replied again. She nodded slowly. Yeah, she said. I know. Fans are shocked when they see how calm she was, how controlled. No yelling, no accusations. Just observation. Later that day, she met with a friend, voice barely above a whisper. Something's happening, she said. I can feel it. Her friend leaned in. Then why don't you ask him? Rasheeda shook her head. Because I already know the answer. Across town, Jasmine replayed the night in her head, posting another vague story, just a shadow of her face this time. Comments flooded in. Speculation exploded. Screenshots circulated. Emotions ran high online as fans connected dots that weren't even confirmed yet. Some defended Rasheeda fiercely. Others accused Jasmine of stirring chaos. The family was left divided in the court of public opinion before anyone had even spoken publicly. That evening, Kirk's phone buzzed with a message that made his stomach drop. Jasmine. Last night wasn't nothing. He stared at it for a long time, then locked his phone. Rasheeda watched him from across the room, saying nothing. And in that silence, thicker than the one before, everyone involved felt it. The night wasn't over. It had only shifted, and whatever was coming next was already in motion. only shifted, stretching forward into something heavier, something unavoidable. Kirk could feel it in the way Rasheeda's eyes lingered on him a second too long, in the way she stirred her coffee without taking a sip, the spoon clinking softly like a countdown. He shifted in his seat, pretending to check emails, pretending not to feel the weight of everything pressing down on his chest. "You sure you're good?" Rasheeda asked casually, finally breaking the silence. Her voice was calm, almost gentle, and that made it worse. Kirk nodded quickly. "Yeah, just tired," he replied. She tilted her head, studying him. "Tired people usually sleep," she said. "You didn't." Kirk forced a laugh. "Work kept me up." Rasheeda nodded again, but this time her lips pressed into a thin line. Fans are shocked later when they realize how much she already knew in this moment. Her phone buzzed on the table. A text from a friend. "Did you see what Jasmine posted last night?" Rasheeda didn't open it. She didn't need to. Instead, she stood up, collecting her bag. "I've got a meeting," she said. "We'll talk later." Kirk looked relieved and guilty all at once. "Okay," he said. "Be safe." She paused at the door, turned back, and smiled. "Always," she replied, then walked out. Alone again, Kirk exhaled, running a hand over his face. His phone buzzed almost immediately. "Jasmine again. You gonna act like I don't exist now?" He stared at the message, thumb hovering. Across town, Jasmine waited, pacing her apartment, replaying the morning over and over. The way Kirk had looked at her, the way he hadn't told her to stay, the way he hadn't told her not to come back either. Emotions ran high as irritation bubbled into something sharper. She typed another message. "I'm not gonna be quiet forever." Kirk locked his phone without responding, tossing it onto the couch like it burned. He told himself ignoring it was the smart move, the only move. But ignoring something didn't make it disappear. It only gave it time to grow. Later that afternoon, Rasheeda sat across from her friend, stirring ice in her drink. "I feel stupid," she admitted quietly. "For staying calm when everything in me wants to scream." Her friend leaned forward. "Calm doesn't mean clueless," she said. "Sometimes it means you're watching." Rasheeda looked up, eyes sharp. "Exactly." That evening, Kirk came home to a house that felt too quiet. Rasheeda was already there, sitting on the couch, scrolling on her phone. "Hey," he said cautiously. "Hey," she replied, not looking up. Another silence settled in, thick and uncomfortable. Finally, Rasheeda set her phone down. "Is there something you want to tell me?" she asked. Kirk's heart pounded. This was it. This was the moment he'd been avoiding all day. "About what?" he asked, playing dumb. Rasheeda smiled faintly. "Don't do that," she said. "We're too old for that." He swallowed hard. "Nothing's going on," he said. "I swear." Rasheeda held his gaze, unblinking. "That's not what I asked," she replied. "I asked if there's something you want to tell me." The room felt smaller. Kirk shifted, then shook his head. "No," he said. "There's nothing." Rasheeda nodded slowly. "Okay," she said. "Then I'll tell you something." Kirk tensed. "I know Jasmine was with you last night." The words landed softly, but the impact was brutal. Fans are shocked when they hear how quiet it got after that. Kirk stared at her, mouth opening, then closing. "Who told you that?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Rasheeda shrugged. "Does it matter?" she replied. "I just want to see if you're going to keep lying." He stood up abruptly. "Nothing happened," he insisted. "She just needed to talk." Rasheeda stood too, meeting him eye to eye. "In your house," she said. "At night." Her voice cracked just slightly, enough to show the hurt beneath the control. "You should have told me," she continued. "Even if nothing happened." Kirk ran his hands through his hair. "I didn't want to stress you out," he said. Rasheeda laughed once, bitterly. "So you decided to disrespect me instead?" Emotions ran high as years of built-up frustration surfaced. "I've stood by you through everything," she said. "Everything. And this is how you repay that?" Kirk tried to speak, but she raised a hand. "Don't," she said. "Not yet." She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "What hurts the most," she added, "is that part of me thinks you did this because you thought I'd accept it." Kirk looked down. That silence was his answer. Across town, Jasmine felt her phone vibrate nonstop. Group chats buzzing, friends warning her that things were heating up. She smiled to herself, equal parts nervous and satisfied. "Told you," she whispered, staring at the screen. "Secrets don't stay secrets." Back at the house, Rasheeda grabbed her keys. "I need space," she said. "Real space." Kirk reached out instinctively, then stopped himself. "Rasheeda," she turned. "Don't follow me," she warned. "Not tonight." She walked out, leaving Kirk standing alone in the middle of the room, surrounded by the consequences he could no longer outrun. As the door closed, his phone buzzed one more time. "Jasmine. Guess she knows now." Kirk stared at the message, hands shaking. Outside, the city buzzed with speculation, fans choosing sides, narratives forming. The family was left divided, lines drawn without anyone officially saying a word. And as night fell again, heavier than the last, one thing was clear to everyone watching. This story was far from over. It was just getting messier, louder, and impossible to control. Kirk sat alone long after Rasheeda left, the house echoing with her absence. Every room felt like evidence, every shadow like judgment. He replayed her words again and again, especially the part she didn't say out loud. The part about trust. The part about how close she might be to being done. His phone buzzed again, and this time he didn't even need to look to know who it was. Jasmine. He didn't answer. Instead, he poured himself a drink, the ice clinking against the glass louder than it should have. Emotions ran high as guilt and defiance fought inside him. Part of him wanted to call Rasheeda, to beg, to explain. Another part, the reckless part, felt cornered and angry, tired of always being the villain. Rasheeda drove aimlessly for a while, tears finally spilling once she was alone. She pulled into a quiet parking lot, gripping the steering wheel. "I knew it," she whispered, half sob, half laugh. What hurt wasn't just Jasmine being there. It was the certainty that Kirk had made a choice not to tell her. Fans are shocked when they realize this betrayal cut deeper than any rumor ever could. Her phone buzzed. Jasmine had posted again. No words this time, just a photo of a city skyline at night. Rasheeda stared at it, heart-pounding. Was it a taunt? A coincidence? She tossed the phone onto the passenger seat, wiping her face. "I'm not doing this," she said out loud. "Not like this." Back at Jasmine's place, the mood was different. She sat cross-legged on the couch, phone in hand, adrenaline still rushing. She knew exactly what she was doing, and pretending otherwise was pointless now. When Kirk didn't respond, irritation crept in. "Don't make me look stupid," she muttered, typing again. "You gonna talk to me or nah?" This time, she hit send harder than necessary. Kirk's phone lit up on the coffee table. He glanced at it, then finally picked it up. "Stop texting me," he wrote back. "This is already too much." Jasmine's jaw tightened when she read it. "Too much?" She scoffed. "You invited me. You let me stay. Don't rewrite history now." Meanwhile, Rasheeda called her sister, voice trembling despite her effort to stay composed. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do," she admitted. "Everyone thinks I'm strong, but I'm tired." Her sister sighed. "Being strong doesn't mean being silent," she said. "Ask the questions you're scared of the answers to." Rasheeda closed her eyes. "What if I already know?" she whispered. The next morning came with no resolution, just more tension. Kirk barely slept. Jasmine barely ate. Rasheeda woke up determined. She returned home mid-morning, expression unreadable. Kirk looked up when she walked in, hopeful and terrified all at once. "We need to talk," she said calmly. "And this time, I don't want half-truths." They sat across from each other, the same couch that had held so many conversations before. "Tell me exactly what happened," Rasheeda said. Kirk hesitated, then sighed. "She came over," he admitted. "We talked. She stayed in the guest room." Rasheeda nodded. "And?" Kirk looked at her. "And nothing else." Rasheeda studied him closely. "Did you want something else to happen?" she asked quietly. That question hit harder than any accusation. Kirk looked away. That was answer enough. Rasheeda stood slowly. "Thank you for finally being honest," she said. "Even if it's too late." Kirk stood too. "I love you," he said quickly. Rasheeda paused. "Love isn't the problem," she replied. "Respect is." Across town, Jasmine watched the clock, waiting. She knew Rasheeda would confront him. She knew the fallout would reach her soon. When her phone finally buzzed, it wasn't Kirk. It was a mutual friend. "Girl, Rasheeda knows everything." Jasmine leaned back, exhaling slowly. "Good," she whispered. "Now we're all on the same page." Online, fans were already dissecting every move. Screenshots, theories, heated debates. Emotions ran high everywhere. Some accused Jasmine of sabotage. Others blamed Kirk entirely. Many praised Rasheeda for her composure. The family was left divided not just privately, but publicly, with opinions flying faster than facts. That night, Kirk sat alone again, staring at the ceiling, realizing control had slipped through his fingers. Rasheeda packed a small bag, saying she needed time. Jasmine posted nothing, letting silence do the work. And somewhere between regret and anticipation, all three of them knew one truth. The hardest part wasn't what had happened. It was what was about to happen next. And now it's on you. After everything you just heard, after every late-night text, every loaded silence, every look that said more than words ever could, the biggest questions are still hanging in the air. Did Rasheeda really know more than she let on? Was Jasmine playing a long game, or did emotions spiral out of control faster than anyone expected? And Kirk, was he trapped by temptation, or by choices he never thought would catch up to him this hard? Fans are shocked because nothing about this situation feels simple. Every angle tells a different story. Some of you are saying Rasheeda was 10 steps ahead the whole time, watching quietly, letting the truth reveal itself without her ever having to raise her voice. Others are convinced Jasmine knew exactly what she was doing, pushing buttons, testing limits, daring the fallout to happen. And then there are those of you who believe Kirk created this mess all on his own, that no amount of confusion or pressure excuses the betrayal of trust. Emotions ran high in this story for a reason, because it mirrors real life more than people want to admit. The unanswered texts, the "nothing happened" conversations, the gut feelings you try to ignore until they're screaming at you. This isn't just gossip, it's a reminder of how quickly lines blur when honesty disappears. And the family was left divided not just inside those walls but everywhere people are watching, reacting, and choosing sides. So now ask yourself, if you were in Rasheeda's place, what would you do next? Would you walk away to protect your peace, or stay and demand accountability? If you were Jasmine, would you feel justified, ignored, or regretful? And if you were Kirk, would you finally face the damage, or keep hiding behind silence and half-truths? There's no single right answer, and that's why this story keeps people talking. This is where your voice matters. Drop a comment right now and tell everyone whose side you're on and why. Do you think this situation is already beyond repair, or is there still a path to redemption? Did Rasheeda already know everything, or did the truth hit her harder than she expected? Say it out loud in the comments, because this conversation doesn't end here. And if you want to stay locked in as this drama continues to unfold, make sure you hit that like button to let us know you're invested. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single update, twist, or revelation, because stories like this never end quietly. Turn on notifications so you're the first to know when the next chapter drops, because trust us, this isn't over. Share this video with someone who loves real talk, messy situations, and stories that make you question everything you thought you knew. The more opinions, the more angles, the deeper this gets. We want to hear from you, because your perspective is part of what keeps this drama alive. Until next time, keep watching closely, because in situations like this, silence speaks louder than words, and what comes next might change everything.